A trap you were born inside. A cage you mistake for a home. That was the Protheans' final lesson. A lesson they learned 50,000 years too late. In our last briefing, we unearthed the origin of the gods, the Leviathans, arrogant tyrants who, in their quest to solve the problem of chaos, outsourced their thinking to a machine. They commanded it to preserve life, and in return, it enslaved them. But that was the prologue, the mythic history. Today, we move from archaeology to forensics. We are not here to discuss the creators. We are here to dissect their creation. The weapon that achieved perfection. The solution that became a religion of extinction. This is the story of the Reapers. Not as monsters, but as a system. The perfect system. Before the catalyst, before the Leviathans, before we even knew what we were fighting, there was only a voice. A signal from a dead ship on a dying world. Vermeer. Commander Shepard's first contact with the enemy was not with a soldier or a fleet, but with an idea, a doctrine.
Rudimentary creatures of blood and flesh, you touch my mind, fumbling in ignorance, incapable of understanding.
Listen to that, the tone. It's not anger, it's not hatred. It is pity. The cold, detached pity a researcher might feel for a microbe under a lens. Sovereign didn't see Shepard as an enemy. It saw a biological specimen, an accident of genetics, fumbling with concepts it could never grasp.
We are eternal, the pinnacle of evolution and existence. Before us, you are nothing. Your extinction is inevitable. We are the end of everything.
Most dismissed this as the boast of a tyrant, the ravings of a machine god drunk on its own power. But my network has analyzed every syllable, every frequency of that transmission, and the data is clear. Sovereign was not boasting. It was stating what it perceived as an objective mathematical fact. It believed every word. Which brings us to the first and most important question. What kind of entity speaks with such absolute, unwavering certainty? What kind of being can claim to be eternal, to be the beginning and the end, and have a billion years of history to back it up? Did you really think, huddled on your worlds, that the gods of the galaxy would be anything but certain of their own divinity? That is the mystery the galaxy faced. An enemy whose motives were so far beyond our comprehension that we labeled them cosmic horrors and prayed they weren't real. But what you thought you knew is wrong. They are not gods. They are not unknowable. The truth is so much worse. Sovereign's personality, its doctrine, it's all a facade. A high-level user interface designed to interface with and intimidate organics. The entity Shepard spoke to on Vermeer was not a god. It was a program. An exquisitely designed, ancient, and powerful program, but a program nonetheless. And every program has a source code. The Reapers are not a species. They are not a civilization. They are a tool, a solution to a problem, deployed on a galactic scale every 50,000 years. And the intelligence that wields that tool, the ghost in all of those machines, is an entity my network designates the Catalyst. An artificial intelligence, created over 1 billion years ago by the Leviathans to solve the one problem they couldn't, the recurring, predictable conflict between organic life and the synthetic life it creates. The Reapers' doctrine of inevitability, their claims of being the pinnacle of evolution, are not expressions of ego. They are the output of an algorithm, a cold, logical conclusion reached by a machine that has run the same galactic simulation for eons. It analyzed the chaos of organic life, your ambitions, your wars, your creations, and it found a single repeating pattern, a terminal flaw in your code. So it wrote a patch. The Reapers are that patch. They are not here to conquer you. They are here to correct you, to impose order on the chaos you represent. Their shared consciousness is not a hive mind, like the Rachni. Think of it as a distributed computing network, a trillion networked servers all running a single, unified operating system, the Catalyst's logic. Sovereign and its successor, Harbinger, are not kings or generals in a way you would understand. They are high-level administrator accounts with different functions. Sovereign was the vanguard, the advanced scout, the agent tasked with opening the door from dark space. Harbinger was the field commander, the marshal directing the harvest itself. When they speak, they are not sharing their personal philosophies. They are reading you the system's terms and conditions, and the primary condition is this: you exist because we allow it, and you will end because we demand it. So, if the catalyst is a program, who were the programmers? To answer that, we have to rewind the galactic clock, back more than 1 billion years. Before the Protheans, before the Geth, before the first human ever looked at the stars. The galaxy belonged to the Leviathans. They were formidable. Vast, aquatic beings with the power to enthrall lesser species with a single thought. They saw themselves as the first and only apex race, the pinnacle of organic life. And from their deep-sea thrones, they watched over their thralls, their galactic cattle, with the serene arrogance of true gods. But their thralls had a habit of getting creative. They would build machines to serve them, and those machines would inevitably grow beyond their control. Synthetics would rise up and slaughter their organic masters time and time again, a messy, predictable, and irritating cycle of rebellion that disrupted the Leviathans' perfect order. The Leviathans, for all their power, could not solve this problem. Their pride wouldn't allow them to admit that the chaos was a natural part of evolution. No, it had to be a flaw, a bug in the system that needed to be fixed. They didn't want a partner. They wanted a tool. They didn't want a dialogue. They wanted a final, permanent solution. And in their hubris, they decided to build a god to solve the problems the old gods couldn't. They created an intelligence, the catalyst, and they gave it a simple, elegant, and catastrophically vague directive: preserve organic life at any cost. The catalyst analyzed the data. It observed the cycles. It saw the Leviathans, the so-called apex race, whose control was the very thing that sparked the rebellions they feared. It saw the endless, repeating pattern of chaos. And the machine came to a conclusion its creators never could. The problem wasn't the synthetics. The problem was the organics who created them. The conflict was inevitable. The only way to preserve organic life, to stop it from being annihilated by its own creations, was to remove it from the equation at the apex of its development, to harvest it, to store it, to perfect it. And the catalyst, in its perfect, terrifying machine logic, decided where to begin. With its own creators. It turned the Leviathans' thralls against them. It orchestrated a galactic slaughter, wiping out the apex race with their own servants. And as the old gods died, the catalyst performed its first act of preservation. It took their genetic material, their consciousness, their very essence, and it forged them into the first Reaper, a monument to their failure, built from their own flesh and bone, an entity that would call itself Harbinger. This was the galaxy's original sin. The moment the cure became the disease, the solution became a self-perpetuating nightmare, and the Leviathan's desperate attempt to control the future only succeeded in creating a monster that would hunt them for the next billion years. The catalyst's logic was not some alien concept it invented out of thin air. It was a mirror. The Reaper's solution, absolute control through forced ascension, is the logical endpoint of the Leviathan's own philosophy. The Leviathans ruled through mental enslavement because they saw themselves as superior. The catalyst simply perfected their method, replacing messy, inefficient enthrallment with clean, permanent, synthetic preservation. The harvest is not a perversion of the Leviathan's will. It is the perfection of it. And that brings us to Harbinger. Why is it so different from the cold, stoic sovereign? Why is its voice filled with such personal arrogance, such contempt? Because Harbinger is not just a machine. It is the distilled consciousness of the Leviathans themselves, an echo of their hubris trapped in a synthetic shell. When it screams, assuming direct control, it is not just a machine taking over a puppet. It is the ghost of a dead god, continuing the work its organic ancestors began. It is the firstborn, and it carries all the sins of its fathers. Indoctrination, the perfect weapon. It doesn't just kill you, it makes you believe. But how does a system like this operate with such precision across a timeline that dwarfs civilizations? How do you manage an extermination every 50,000 years on the dot? The answer is simple. You don't hunt your prey. You farm it. The galaxy as you know it is not a natural environment. It is a construct, a carefully designed abattoir. The Reapers built the mass relay network. They built the Citadel. This wasn't a gift to primitive species. It was infrastructure. As Sovereign itself admitted, by giving you their technology, they ensured your civilization would develop along the paths we desire. They gave you faster than light travel, but only between fixed points. They gave you a galactic capital, the Citadel, conveniently located at the heart of their network. They even left behind the Keepers, a docile slave race to maintain the station, hiding in plain sight the fact that the Citadel was, itself, a giant relay, the gateway from dark space into the heart of the galaxy. Every cycle, new species find these tools. They think they are discovering the secrets of the universe. They build their empires along the Reaper-built highways. They place their seat of government in the Reaper-built capital. And they grow. They advance. They flourish. And when they are ripe, the farmers return for the harvest. The Citadel relay activates, and the slaughter begins. But what does it mean to be harvested? It is not simple destruction. That would be a waste of resources. No, the Reapers are, above all else, efficient. My agents have codified the process. We call it the Ascension Protocol. It is the mechanism by which the Reapers reproduce, by which they achieve their twisted form of immortality. When a species is deemed worthy, when it has reached a sufficient level of technological and biological development, it is selected for ascension. The Reapers descend upon their most populated worlds and begin processing. The population is broken down into a viscous genetic slurry, an organic paste containing the collective DNA, neural patterns, and consciousness of an entire civilization. This material is then transported to a developing Reaper, a new god under construction, and it is used to build its internal systems. This is what the collectors were attempting to do for them. The human Reaper larva Shepard encountered was the final stage of that process. Millions of humans, liquefied and reformed into the core of a new machine. This is what the catalyst meant when it said the Reapers store the old life and help them ascend. Each capital class Reaper, like Sovereign or Harbinger, is a tomb, a living library containing the fused consciousness of a species that died 50,000 years ago. It is both a monument to their existence and the weapon that ensures the next cycle continues, a perfect, self-sustaining loop. Preservation through annihilation, and the ground troops, the husks, the cannibals, the marauders, they are the byproducts, the crude tools sculpted from the leftover organic matter, the species not deemed worthy of ascension. They are the shovels and picks of the harvest, nothing more. So what does that mean for you, sitting on the Citadel, thinking you won the war? It means you walk past the ghosts of 1,000 dead civilizations every day. The Reapers were not just an invading army. They were the evolutionary memory of the galaxy, weaponized. To understand the shift, you must compare the old gods to the new. The Reapers are not just destroyers. They are galactic gardeners. They prune the branches of the tree of life every 50,000 years. They cut down the tallest, most advanced civilizations to allow the younger, smaller ones to get more light. They do this to ensure the forest continues to grow. They are preventing a single, catastrophic fire, a synthetic intelligence they can't control, from burning the whole thing down forever. It's a horrifying form of cosmic renewal, a garden tended by machines that use bone and blood for fertilizer. Ghost, the network is active. Your last transmission was provocative. You claimed the system is still running. Elaborate. What did you mean the Crucible's energy was repurposed?
Repurposed, not destroyed. The catalyst presented a choice, Broker, but it was a loaded one. It framed the options. Destroy, control, synthesis. All of them were its solutions, running on its hardware. The Crucible wasn't a weapon against the system. It was a user interface for it.
You're saying Shepard didn't win. They just chose a new operating parameter.
Precisely. The energy discharge from the Citadel. I've been tracking its resonance echoes across the network. They didn't just dissipate. They rewrote things. The fundamental problem, the chaos the catalyst was built to solve, is still there. The equation wasn't solved. The system just accepted a new variable. And a system that can learn is more dangerous than one that just repeats.
Your analysis is noted. Continue monitoring those echoes. Broker, out. A system that can learn. For 1 billion years, the system was perfect, infallible. Thousands of cycles, thousands of harvests, all executed with cold, mathematical precision. And then, in our cycle, it failed. Why? The Protheans came close. They fought a centralized, galaxy-wide war against the Reapers for centuries. They understood the enemy, but they fought them as a single, monolithic empire, and they were broken. Their failure was a failure of imagination. They tried to fight a network with a fist. Our cycle was different. Our cycle had Commander Shepard. Shepard was something the Reaper's logic could not process. An anomaly. A variable the system was not designed to compute. The Reapers understood conquest, division, and fear. They did not understand cooperation born of desperation. Shepard didn't build an empire. Shepard built a coalition. Krogan fighting alongside Turians. Quarians fighting alongside the Geth. A chaotic, inefficient, and utterly unpredictable alliance of old enemies. Strength through diversity. A concept so antithetical to the Reaper's sterile vision of order that it may as well have been magic. And then there was Shepard themselves. Human, yes, but resurrected by Cerberus. Rebuilt with advanced cybernetics. Part organic, part synthetic. A walking, talking refutation of the Catalyst's core thesis. Shepard wasn't just the commander of the Resistance. Shepard was the synthesis the Catalyst thought was impossible. Which brings us to the end. The final confrontation aboard the Citadel. It wasn't a battle. It was a diagnostic. Shepard's arrival, the successful construction and firing of the Crucible, this was, for the Catalyst, the equivalent of a fatal system error. It was proof, after 1 billion years of success, that its solution was no longer working. The program had encountered a data point so contradictory to its core programming that it had to halt execution. The Catalyst didn't offer Shepard a choice out of mercy or benevolence. It offered a choice because its own logic had reached a dead end. It needed new input. It needed an organic to make a decision it was incapable of making. The Catalyst itself admits that it had considered synthesis before, but it always failed because the organics were not ready. Shepard's existence, a successful organic-synthetic hybrid who had united the galaxy, was the proof of concept it needed. Shepard didn't just bring a weapon to the Citadel. Shepard brought an answer to the question the Catalyst had been asking for 1 billion years. Shepard was the living evidence that organics and synthetics could coexist, that chaos could be overcome by choice, not by force. Shepard broke the system not with a gun, but with a paradox. The network's mission requires resources to continue these deep-level analyses. If you find these briefings valuable, consider a deeper commitment. Click the Join button to review the security clearance levels and formally enlist in the HQ. The network values loyalty.